All right, guys, some interesting market action today. Looking at some indexes, a few names that I really like. Some big misses today, some big gains, some breakout continuations, some fresh breakouts on volume. We'll cover it all. Let's start off with looking at the NASDAQ, looking at the S&P, both pretty much flat on the day. Looking at just price in relation to the 20-day and the 50-day. NASDAQ still almost 2.5% above the 20, almost 1% above the 50. Like that, feel like we might get a little bit of a pullback at some point just because we're starting to drift higher and more above that 20-day. But we'll see what happens. Pretty constructive action so far, in my opinion. Looking at the new highs list, the growth names on my new highs. Sorry, I got an ambulance whipping by the apartment right now, but a lot of names on the list. Like a lot of broad participation, got some software names, some internet retailers, insurance, some industrials, financials, a lot of banks, a lot of asset management. But overall, really like this. Some consumer cyclicals as well. Feel like this is a really nice mix. 45 names is a really good number. The net new highs versus net new lows was significantly positive. I think it was 32 today. So really like that. There were some big misses today. A lot of these are on earnings. PLTR, FWRG, Pay, Datadog, all pretty significant misses. Big gap down on Palantir. First watch, there's a nasty red candle on pretty significant volume. Pay was looking a little constructive there for a little bit. Thought we might creep up the right side of that base per se, but definitely resolved to the downside. And then Datadog, pretty significant gap down there as well. Apparently this earnings report was pretty solid, but obviously the market didn't like it. I haven't had a chance to read it. But Coin, not participating in any upside the last couple of days either. But moving on to some clean breakouts today. Eris, really nice breakout, clean to new highs on increasing volume like that. Fix, increasing volume, really clean breakout. A lot of accumulation back here at the end of February. So that's definitely on my watch list right now. SEMrush, really clean breakout today, pretty nice volume. And then Zeta. We had this big gap up on nice volume at the beginning of April. Really strong, great relative strength throughout the month during that pullback. And then, really nice move today, gapping and holding, closing. Looks like towards the upper half of the range, really nice volume. So like that there. And then moving on to some recent breakouts or gap ups and some names that have held that recent ground, which feels like really constructive in all of these names. AIG's holding that breakout so far. ALKT, really big candle, been able to hold gains. ASPN, been able to hold these gains. Coupang looks really constructive. Melly's been able to hold this big gap up. Garmin and ITRI able to hold these breakouts. Pinterest is able to hold this gap. So a lot of really constructive stuff going on here, in my opinion. Vital Farms is just continuing to be absolutely unstoppable, closing at new highs once again. And then looking at some names and moving on high volume, similar to the previous screen, but a lot of these breakouts were on significant volume. All of this was over 1.5x. TradeWeb was also breaking out yesterday, moving up higher, holding those gains on high volume today. And then a really notable name that I wanted to highlight was Toast. Sorry, I have my neighbor playing some music. But Argentina names, taking a little bit of a breather here. Not a surprise. Heck of a run the last couple of weeks. And then some other notable names here also holding recent gains. Wings, hovering right at highs. WGS holding that huge gain. Sega's hanging out right at highs. Apple's ready to move. Fresh Pat holding that gap up. Robinhood looks kind of ready to run here. I feel like this is really constructive. And then, it's definitely outperforming Coinbase right now, which I know you guys have heard me say, but I kind of lumped them in together. But Coin hasn't really participated in these up days the last couple of weeks here. And then, materials also on my radar as well. McEwen Mining had a great run, March through April. Looks like it might be setting up again, ready to run this candle at the end of April. Really nice volume there. And then Silvercrest as well. Slight consolidation here, almost 100% gain since March. Both of these can be super explosive. So they're on my watch list for materials. Keep an eye there. And then wrapping up, just looking at these, big losers on the day. Datadog, First Watch, Pay, Palantir, all pretty nasty candles, pretty big gap downs. But we'll see if this, starts a new downtrend or if these get bought up, kind of like Meta has been bought up after that earnings miss, which has been really positive. But overall, mixed action, but definitely still seeing some continuation and breakouts. Some names doing a really nice job holding pretty explosive moves. So feels constructive. Might be some mixed days here, but we'll see what happens for the rest of the week. Anything can happen. Keeping an open mind, but we'll see what happens Wednesday.